Hi, I'm Rebecca teaching for OTA Yoga, and this class is a quick stretch for your whole body. We'll start by coming into any comfortable seat on your yoga mat. You could also use a towel or a folded blanket. And as you come to sit on your mat, have the two long sides of your mat to your right and left, and the short sides of your mat to the front and back of you. You could sit with your legs crossed, maybe crossing one shin in front of the other or crossing one ankle on top of the other. And you might be more comfortable sitting with the legs extended straight in front of you. As you settle in, feel that the weight is even side to side in your rear end. Feel that your spine is sitting up nice and tall. Relax the shoulders down your back and then allow your eyes to close. Notice if you're squeezing the eyes closed and allow that to soften. Soften the space in between the eyebrows, relax the lines or wrinkles in the forehead. And you may lick your lips or open and close your mouth once or twice just to kind of help release the jaw. And we settle into this neutral, expressionless face. Allow your mind to come onto your breath. Feeling the expansion of your chest and your belly and the sides of your torso as you breathe in. And feel the recoil of the chest and the belly and the sides of the body as you breathe out. And just take a couple mindful breaths here on your own. One more mindful breath, just noticing the breath in and noticing your breath out. You can keep the face relaxed, but maybe the eyes float back open. The hands come down along your side. So hands or fingertips touching the mat on either side of your body. And then reach your arms out into a T shape. Turn your thumbs to face the ceiling and then extend the arms all the way up overhead. Turn your palms out to the sides to face the right and left and just float the arms right back down along your sides. And then twice more just like that, reaching the arms into a T shape, turning your thumbs to face the ceiling, reaching the arms all the way overhead. You might even bring the thumbs to touch. And then reach the arms back out like you're trying to touch the wall on either side of you as you bring the arms back down. Really expansive. Fingertips or hands back down to the mat. And one more time, reach the arms out to a T shape. Turn your thumbs to face the ceiling. Reach the arms all the way up overhead. Your thumbs might touch. Turn the palms out to face the sides of the room, and then reach the arms back down, really extending through the arms, reaching as far as you can as the arms come right back down to the mat. And then this time, extend your arms straight forward. So your arms are parallel to the mat or to the floor here. Drop your right arm a little lower than the left. And then cross the arms, giving yourself a big hug. So your left hand to the left shoulder or upper arm, your right hand to the right shoulder or upper arm. And then you might even kind of use your fingertips, crawling them into a slightly deeper crossing of the arms here. So kind of crawling the fingers along the arms or shoulders, maybe even reaching the hands around to your upper back. So that we're holding ourselves in this nice tight hug. And then notice if the upper arms are kind of resting on your chest, and can you lift them just slightly? It's like your elbows are trying to extend forward and sitting up nice and tall here. So checking in, noticing if your spine is kind of starting to round, can you straighten it? And then keeping this big hug, we're going to move a little side to side. So I'm going to try to point my elbows over to the left side, back back to center, over to the right side, back to center, side to side, just like that a few more times. So kind of letting my elbows guide the direction here, side to side. We'll go one more time to each side. We started by going to the left, so we'll end by going to the right. And then when you come back to center, we're going to release this hug and bring the hands together behind your back. Your palms will face in towards each other. Interlace your thumbs, crisscrossing the thumbs, interlacing the fingers, and feel like you're going to try to make one big fist with your hands. So kind of joining the palms together. Do your best to straighten the arms. They might not straighten totally. You can feel like you're trying to move your shoulder blades together, the two sides of the upper back together, kind of rolling the shoulders back. You might find that that big fist you're making with the hand starts to move away from your lower back. And then you can let the arms relax. You can unclasp the hands and let them come to rest in your lap, on your knees or thighs for a moment, and take a big breath in and out through your mouth. And then again, extend the arms straight forward, so palms facing down, arms straight forward, so my arms are parallel to the floor. Drop the left arm a little lower than the right, and cross your arms into this big hug. So once more, bringing your hands to your upper arms or your shoulders, or even reaching them around if they can to the upper back. And you can also kind of crawl the fingers, kind of inching them along the upper back, trying to kind of feel the shoulder blades, the two sides of your upper back with each hand. And again, we're crossing ourselves into this nice tight hug. If you notice the upper arms are kind of resting on the chest, can you lift them just slightly? And then notice how that may change the sensation here when we take that little kind of minute detail in this pose. The reminder that we're still sitting up nice and tall. We're not rounding the spine. And then again, we're going to take this position a little side to side. So my lower body stays the same, but I sort of try to point my elbows over to the right side, back through center, over to the left side, back to center, and again, side to side a couple more times. Let's go to each side one more time. So pointing my elbows to the right, over to the left, and then back to center. And then you can release this hug and just let the hands travel back down to your knees or thighs. Let's start to come into our neck a little bit here. So again, sitting up nice and tall, and then just tilting your left ear to your left shoulder. Now, sometimes when we do this, I notice people want to shift more weight into the left side. They kind of tilt their whole body to the left. Can you let just the head and neck tilt to the left? And again, feel your rear end nice and kind of firm and even on the mat, so both sides pressing down. And if you kind of bring your attention into your torso, noticing that both sides of the body are nice and long, so we haven't kind of shortened the left side. So just the head and neck tilted to the left. And then with the head still in this tilt, we're going to do like a little bit of a nod. So bringing the chin a little forward and then moving the head a little back. And doing that 2 more times. So nice and gentle here, nice slow movements when we're dealing with our neck. So our head is tilted to the left, and again, one more time, we find this little nod, the chin slightly forward, and then slightly back. And then you can bring your head and neck back through center, and tilt your head over to the right. So again, remember, just the head and neck are tilting here, so we're not shifting weight to the right side, we're not kind of leaning to the right, just the head and neck tilt. Everything else stays the same. Nice and relaxed through the shoulders. And then again, let's find that gentle nod here. So while my head is still tilted, the chin comes a little forward, the head moves slightly back, the chin a little forward, the head moves slightly back. And one more time, this just kind of gentle nod, moving in a way that feels good for your neck, listening to your body. And then allowing your head and neck to come back to center. And then let's make our way to lie on our backs. So you could uncross your legs, have your knees bent and your feet flat on the mat. Let's try reaching our arms straight forward. So again, my arms are kind of parallel to the mat. I like for my thumbs to face the ceiling. And then we're going to really slowly kind of roll ourselves down onto the mat. So we're going to kind of roll onto like our tailbone and our lower back. And then feel like each little vertebra of your spine is going to kind of one at a time roll down to the mat. And then when the upper back touches the mat, the back of your head can come to the mat and the arms can come down by your sides. Bring both knees into the chest. And we're going to hug the legs in. So you can either hug along the back of your thighs. Sometimes that feels a little bit easier. Or you could wrap your hands around the shins or knees and just gently hold the knees into the chest. You might rock a little side to side if that feels good for you. And some people prefer to stay still and just hold the knees and thighs in the chest. Now keep your right knee where it is and let your left leg extend forward. Your left leg can come to rest on the mat nice and straight. Holding that right knee in for a moment. Try to relax your shoulders here. Try to feel the back of your head relax on the mat. You can allow the right knee to move a little side to side, so kind of over towards the right armpit, and then even over a little towards the left armpit. So side to side a couple times like that, just steering that right leg to each side. And then we'll bring it back to center where we started. And you can interlace the fingers around the back of your right thigh and start to extend your right leg to the ceiling. Now, it doesn't have to straighten completely. You might find that it maintains a little bit of a bend. But we are going to flex the right foot. So it's going to feel like you're trying to reach your right heel towards the ceiling and the right toes are kind of pointing down in the direction of your face. Again, we want the shoulders to be nice and relaxed here. Take a couple more breaths here, stretching that, maybe feeling this along the back of your right thigh. And then take a moment to roll your ankle. Make some circles with your ankle here. I like to make a few circles in one direction and a few circles the opposite direction. And then bend the right knee into your chest once more. And let's change legs. So you can extend the right leg forward, nice and long along the mat, and then just the left knee and thigh come into the chest. And you can interlace your fingers around the left knee or shin, or even holding along the back of your left thigh if that's easier. And taking a moment just to simply hug it into the chest. Noticing any differences side to side. Sometimes our left side feels easier or the right side feels easier, so just something to notice in your own body. And then starting to move the left knee side to side. So we move it a little towards the left, kind of towards that left armpit, and over towards the right as though it could move towards the right armpit. And again, side to side a few more times. One more time to each side, left and then right. And then once you kind of bring your knee and thigh back to center where it started, you can interlace the fingers around the back of the left leg and reach your left heel up towards the ceiling. So again, kind of extending through the leg. It doesn't have to straighten. You might still feel a little bit of a bend in it, especially if you're really tight in the back of the leg. Relaxing the shoulders. And again, we're flexing the left foot. So what that feels like is like the left heel is reaching up, striving up towards the ceiling, and the left toes are kind of pointing down towards our face. So again, take a few moments just to notice where you feel this sensation and maybe how it compares to the right side. And then a couple circles with the left foot. So kind of circling around here at the ankle, a few circles in one direction and a few circles the opposite direction. And then you can bend the left knee back into your chest, giving the left leg a little hug. Bend the right knee in to meet the left. And again, just the legs, that little hug here into your chest. And then bring both feet down to the mat, knees bent, feet flat on the mat. Arms down along your sides. Your toes are pointing straight forward. Think about your knees being kind of lined up over the ankles. And another way to think about that is kind of walking your heels in nice and close to each side of your rear end. The arms are down along your side. Press your feet into the mat, press your shoulder blades into the mat, and lift your hips up towards the ceiling. So you might lift the hips just a little bit, or you might lift the hips a lot. Everyone's a little different here. My hips are pressing to the ceiling. And then you can also think about the chest kind of rising up like it's trying to touch your chin. The back of the head and the back of the neck just stay nice and long along the mat here. And then you can allow your spine to kind of gently roll back down to the mat. Maybe the hips are the last thing to arrive back on the mat. And then let your hands come onto your belly for a moment. Just letting the hands come to your belly, or even your chest and your belly. Walk your feet towards each other. So the knees are still bent. We walk the feet together. And then your knees and thighs will open out to the sides, and you can think about pressing the soles of your feet together. So the outer edges of my feet are resting on the mat. The bottoms of the feet are pressing towards each other, into each other, and the knees and thighs open out to the sides. So we start to kind of get into our inner hips here. Let's take a couple breaths here. So lying on the mat, hands resting on the belly. Our knees and thighs are kind of opened out to the side. The soles of the feet are pressing into each other, and the outer edges of the feet again kind of resting on the mat. And then to come out of this, I like to bring my hands to each outer thigh and then use the hands to kind of gather the legs together. So closing the legs, kind of closing them towards each other, almost like closing a book. And then you can bring the knees and thighs into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, giving them a little hug. One more time here. And then releasing your feet down to the mat. We'll take a brief Shavasana here, which is also just kind of our rest at the end of class. You can extend both legs forward, long along the mat. You could either keep your hands resting on your belly or your chest and belly like we did a moment ago, or the arms could be down by your sides. I like to have the backs of the hands resting on the floor and the palms up. And make yourself comfortable here. So if there's any adjustments you need to make to be comfortable on your back, you can fidget around for a moment until you find them. And then we'll take just a couple moments to kind of rest in stillness and relaxation here. Again, noticing your breath coming in through your nose and noticing it as it floats back out through your nose. Let's take one more mindful breath in and out. And then one at a time, you can bend your knees, bending your right knee, placing your right foot on the mat, bending your left knee, placing your left foot on the mat. And then just reach your right arm over your head, reaching it over your head, letting it rest on the floor in the mat. And then we're going to roll to the right. So you can let the legs roll to the right, roll onto your right side. Your right ear could rest on your upper right arm. And you can bring the left hand onto the floor or mat in front of your chest. And then you can press into the left hand, use that to help push yourself up to sit. You can make your way just back into any seat that feels good for you. Again, maybe cross-legged, maybe legs in front of you. Come to sit up nice and tall. Take a big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Thank you guys for signing into class today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.